folks, Captain Mike here from Salty Cape. I'm here with Captain Mike Zammito from Godspeed Charters. We're here off Monomoy. A little bit of a foggy day, which is not unusual for the spot. With mid-June, stripers, popping on squid, great time to be here.
We're just stemming the tide here off of Monomoy, keeping one engine in gear. Sometimes when it goes a little bit more, when the tide's flowing harder, might have to kick two in, but one in gear, keeping it as straight as we can, staying about 30 yards past the rip, pitching those plugs right back into it. Barely even need to reel them because the current does all the work. Trying to give everybody else a little bit of room. You'd like to stay, if you can, 100 yards apart from each guy, but sometimes you get a little close. And then if you reach a spot where there's not that many fish around, you can work it a little bit more to the left or right. Not really doing much with the throttle, just if we want to move left or right, all we got to do is turn the wheel a little bit and you'll work right down, let that current do the work. Once you find your speed that kind of keeps you staying in the same spot, you don't need to touch much. So that's basically it. Pretty simple fishing, high action, all in all, easy as it gets.
So these fish are keyed in on these teeny little micro squid. The beauty of this little surface eraser, well, A, is you can get the distance, and B, it's like the size, same size, shape, and profile of these little squid. I can simulate a fleeing squid, just having this pop, pop, pop on the surface, just pop, 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 tip up. Now, the other cool thing about this lure is while it's designed to be a surface lure, you can drop the tip and fish it like a soft bait, just like that. So you can convert it. Fish is a little bigger. Now, there's been a lot of schoolies here, but they've been a little finicky. They've been keyed in on those little micro squids. We started off with the poppers, but conversion rate has gone through the roof of these little surface erasers. And if you're here, you'd see the teeny little micro squid just popping and getting scarfed up by these fish. Might be a slot fish. It's hard to tell in this current. Here are the bass just popping and squid everywhere in the background. And you can see the current, the boils in the current. These fish can really take advantage of, I'm going to tighten my drag a little bit. These fish can really take advantage of the tide. This fish may look a little bigger than it is in real life here, but so you see with this single inline hook how sticky sharp it is, but how easy it is to manage this fish, especially if you're catching, releasing. It's all about the action and the eats. Beautiful fish. So we've horsed this guy a little bit against the tide. He's a little tired. Probably overkill just doing this revive like this. There he goes. So I'm just going to take a minute to show you the 3 retrieves plus 1 hybrid for this surface eraser. And to me, that's what's so great about this lure is all the different ways you can fish it. Now, similar to an epoxy jig, say, you can fish this with what I call the Skippy retrieve. Now that's with your tip up high in the air. You can see how high I have my tip. It's a medium retrieve, and I'm causing that bait to pop, 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 pop. Just simulating like one of these fleeing squid, doing the oh shoot, oh shoot, oh shoot dance. Just popping this thing right on the surface. You can see it's just like a Looks like a simulated, it looks like a fleeing squid. So I'll do that one more time. And again, that's the Skippy retrieve. Big launch. You gotta control your line quickly. Now get it up on the surface and just pop it. Pop it as you reel. Again, that bait's going pop, 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 just like a fleeing squid. And boom, boom, boom. Now the other retrieve, what I call the soft bait retrieve, is the sort of the opposite. My tip is pointed toward the water, and it's a very, it's a slower retrieve, we'll say. Slow to medium retrieve. I'm gonna make that bait dance like a soft bait in the water. And so I'll send it back out. Now I'm just gonna put my tip down and just twitch, 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 pause, twitch, 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 pause. And so I'm gonna make that bait, it's like dancing and darting like a traditional jerk bait. And just twitch, 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 pause, twitch, twitch, pause, twitch, 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 pause, twitch, 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 pause, twitch, 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 pause. Oh, just had a hit. I'm not even trying to catch one, I've got a hit here. Now the third retrieve is the, I'm going to call it the needlefish retrieve. It's just like if you ever fished a needlefish, cast it out, got control your line, and I'm just going to reel it in like a stick, just slow and steady, and that thing is just sticking its way across the surface, slow and steady, slow and steady. You might put a pause in, let it sink a little bit, retrieve it. When you pause, it's going to sink and then emerge back to the surface. Often just that change in depth, pause, almost at altitude here, but change in depth can trigger that strike response. So we've talked about the Skippy retrieve, pop, pop, pop on top, the soft bait retrieve with your tip pointed toward the water, lots of twitches, and what I'm calling this the needlefish retrieve, just a slow and steady. Now the one I do the most is really, I think technically we'll call it the fourth retrieve, and that's the hybrid retrieve, where you're using a little bit of each one in one cast. So I have my tip up, starting it with the Skippy retrieve. That's going to get the commotion, sort of call them in, create that surface noise. Then I'm going to go a little hang time, but still movement of the lure. In the soft bait retrieve, I'm making that bait dance and dart. Then if I'm running out of space as I'm getting to the boat, I'll slow it down and go with the dead stick retrieve. That's going to buy me just a little more time if they're following in and I'm running out of length on the retrieve. And so that's sort of how I finish each cast. And then if I see something next to the boat chasing, you get a lot of follows to this lure. So just to recap, launch it out, and these lures are designed to go a mile. Get in gear, quickly get control of my line. Now I'm skipping this thing. Skip, skip, pop, pop, right on the surface, just like one of these little fleeing squid. Gotta follow, drop the tip. Usually this is where you get the hit, right when you change retrieves. Now I'm into the soft bait mode, now I'm subsurface. Bait's sort of dancing, darting all over. And then I'm running out of space in the cast, length of the cast. Just to buy a little more hang time, I've slowed it down to the needlefish retrieve. A little bitter fish. It's funny, these guys are getting finicky there for a little bit. We really had to go through the rotation on the retrieves. Skippy retrieve, soft bait retrieve, the needlefish retrieve, the dead drift retrieve, and at the end of the day, caught a fish on each of the retrieves, but I think in each case, it needed to be exactly that one retrieve for the fish. It's funny how finicky these guys can get later in the tide where there's a little more boat traffic. Huge amount of bait here right now, it's just everywhere. So if you don't put this lure right in front of the fish, you ain't gonna get it. There's a lot of little fish, but there's some real toads mixed in. I think this fish is a little bigger. Let's see how I can do getting him in. And just like people, everyone's different. fighting above its weight class, that's for sure. Look how fat he is. So we are officially on some finicky stripers, and I pretty much had to hit for the rotation with my retrieves on this fish. I'm going to revive him a little bit. I started with a Skippy retrieve. This guy's pretty good. Started with the Skippy retrieve. Then I went to the soft bait retrieve. At the end of the day, it was the needlefish retrieve that did the job. You know, that's, again, one of my favorite things about the Surface Eraser is it's a top water plug, it's a jerk bait, and it's a stick bait all in one lure. And these fish are keyed in on these teeny little squids. This is even bigger than some of the squids that they're eating, but it'll cast a mile and it'll do exactly what you tell it to do. So we're fishing the shoals at Monomoy, which is, well, for me, a bit of a hike for striper fishing. About 20 nautical miles, we'll call it due east of Falmouth Inner Harbor. You know, Captain Mike here, he probably fishes Monomoy a lot more than I do being on a trailer. But it's an amazing fishery. And when I say Monomoy Shoals, what are the big three here?
It's really just handkerchief, Bearses, and then there's Butler Hole.
And to me, all the little nooks and crannies sort of in the area, you know, because like today, you know, they're all staged up. We got into some crowds, but what do? We just
move around, find the birds, and
found our own fish.
It happened.
Yeah, space it out. And so you just need to remember that you don't want to get caught up in groupthink, because what happens, I see it so many times, all the boats cluster in and everyone's sort of doing the same thing. But, you know, if there's lots of bait, lots of fish, and lots of shoals, can, you know, as we both talked about all morning, you can always find your own fish. So the outfit today is a 7-foot medium heavy spinning rod with a 5,000 class reel. I have 30-pound test braid to a 25-pound test fluorocarbon leader. Now the lure I have here is the Hogy Surface Eraser, which is really just a mini surface pencil. This particular one in the amber color looks a bit like a French fry here. Now you'll notice that I have this tied with a simple loop knot, and like I would fish a small plug or an epoxy jig, huge fan of the loop knot. That's going to enable the lure to have the most natural action in the water. Now one cool feature about the Surface Eraser is, it's cool on the translucent one, you can see how the weighting mechanism situated inside is designed for really long casts. So this bait, this lure with this outfit will cast a mile, and you know, they come featured with a single inline, very sticky sharp hook, which is also easy for a release. But this is just a great, you know, medium to, you know, medium light outfit setup. And this lure, which is great about this lure, is you can fish it any number of different ways. But the fish today were keyed in on little micro squid. And the Surface Erasers come in a number of different colors, you know, an olive sand eel color, a hot pink, natural bone, and also this translucent amber, which again is my favorite when the stripers are keyed in on the squid. And so we have this simple outfit, perfect for stemming the tide. It is light enough. If we do get a big fish, we'll have to drift back, but no big deal. But keep it simple, stupid. This lure's casting a mile, imitating small baits. Rod can get them in. Boom, done, call it a day. Not complaining, but they will only take this stage of the tide on that needlefish retrieve, just reeling it in like a stick, which is a little annoying to me, but how carefully we designed the weighting mechanism in that lure to dance and dart, and they want it like a French fry. But again, not complaining. Boy, this guy hit like he was 4 times the size. I normally like to end the day on a big fish, but I'll take any striper. Off she goes.